Hi beautiful souls, it's Tan back here again today with you on this Astrology Human Design Jinkies channel with another Synastry video. And today we're going to be looking at when one person's sun is conjunct another person's ascendant. So Synastry is when you take two people's individual birth charts and you overlay them on top of each other to get a sense of the two people's chemistry, their rapport, their relational dynamics. It can even show, why their souls are meeting up in this particular lifetime and what their purpose is here together in a sense too, as well as the composite and the Davidson relationship chart. So yes, I'm back to doing Synastry readings, and if you guys are interested in that, then you can head over to my website. I'll leave a link to that in the description box below, as well as in the comment section. So today we're looking at Sun conjunct Ascendant. I like this one. This is such a nice aspect to have in Synastry, and of course, because the Sun is a really, bright planet. In astrology we call it a planet. You can kind of keep the orbs for this one, up to 10 degrees. You would even feel it because of the light of the sun, right? This can also apply if the sun is in someone's first house, but again, the closer it is to the ascendant, the more it's felt, right? It's a spectrum of feelings and energy exchange. So I like this aspect because I have a Gemini rising and I have a lot of friends that are Gemini suns, because there's going to be like a natural liking of each other when you have this particular overlay. Both people are going to feel that you have something very similar to each other, right? Both the ascendant and the sun is like your big three in astrology. So your big threes are kind of meeting up, which means that the core parts of your personality, there's something about the core parts of your personality that are very similar. So there's going to be a natural affinity, a natural liking of each other. Like when I meet a Gemini, I'm like, I know we're going to have a good conversation. The way we talk is very similar because I also have Mercury in the first house. But there's that, that likability of each other. So depending on, of course, like the sign of the sun and the ascendant, that will tell you what the two people are liking about each other. So this is great for any kind of relationships, romantic or friendship or family. It's just it's one of those things that can really make two people enjoy spending time together and have a really good long-term relationship with each other. So, the sun is the natural ruler of Leo, right? And so the ascendant person will like the warmth and the generosity of the sun person. So the sign that the sun and the ascendant is in will tell you the style of how the sun person is showing and giving warmth and generosity. And so the sun, represents our vitality, and the ascendant represents the physical body. So there's going to be a appreciation, like the ascendant person is going to like the energy, the vitality of the sun person and their vibe, you could even say. Their light. The ascendant person likes the light of the sun, and the sun person likes to shine a light on the ascendant person's, one thing will be their physical body. So they can, complement the ascendant person with the way they look, the way they dress, in a way that, it's not in a flirty or romantic way. It could be depending on the sign of the sun, but it's more in a way of appreciating each other. And the ascendant person tends to also like the style of the sun person. They can compliment a lot on, I like what you're wearing today. I like what you do with your hair. They kind of notice those things about each other. But apart from that, the sun also represents our creativity in the world and what we want to be appreciated for, just being who we are, right? That's the sun. So that part of themselves, the part of them that goes about their life purpose and show up in the world in a way that the sun person, wants to show up and wants to be appreciated for this part of themselves, the ascendant person can kind of resonate with that, because the ascendant person is also expressing themselves in the world and socially and in terms of their life path similarly to the sun, right? So there's recognition of, this is how we both want to show up in the world. Both the ascendant and the sun is how you want to show up in the world. So there's like, I want to show up in the world in this way, you want to show up in the world in this way, and I understand you, I get you. There's like this, I just kind of get you, about this part of the way that they're meeting up. So the ascendant person also really appreciates and likes the way that the sun person goes about their career and pursues the recognitions that the sun wants to get in life. They can kind of feel like the way that you're doing it, I feel like it's understandable. I get ya. I get why you go about your career in this way, why you go about your wanting to be recognized in the world in this way. So one of the challenges of this particular conjunction could be that they might find themselves, like if you have this with somebody, like over-identifying with each other, but it's going to depend on a lot of other things as to how extreme that would be. I could imagine that if it would be a sun in, let's say, Libra, or maybe a sun that's sort of, or ascendant, that's sort of, not the strongest, it could kind of cause that over-identification to happen, and one or the other could kind of lose sense of themselves and parts of themselves, right? Because we have other planets there, but the sun is coming here to conjunct the ascendant, and so there's going to be a lot of focus on this particular ascendant sun conjunction, right? So we kind of forget about the other relating that we might have, or the other parts of ourselves, like our moon or our Mars, right? But it depends on the sign of the sun and what the sun is doing there. And also something very interesting that you also want to consider when you see this in a synastry is you want to see if the ascendant person has planets in their 7th house in their birth chart. Because if they have planets in their 7th house in their birth chart, it could be, depending on the degrees, opposing the sun person's sun. And that is going to flavor the types of interactions we're going to have here, right? If it's like Jupiter, whoa, this is going to be very friendly, very, just a lot of liking of each other, a lot of liking, and a lot of generosity even coming in even more. If it's going to be Pluto, this could cause a bit of intense transformation person for the sun that they may not necessarily like, but it's going to be very magnetic, and there's going to be a lot of ups and downs and transformation that could happen, right? If it's, Mars, definitely adding more to that physical attraction. This can, make it quite, physically attractive. If it's, what else can we have? Uranus, that's an interesting one. This is going to feel more like so exciting, so exhilarating. There's going to be a lot of, push and pull between the Uranus challenging the sun person to bring out more of their freedom, more of their individuality, and the sun is doing the same thing to Uranus in return, and so it can feel very exciting. If it's Saturn, that can be very interesting too, because that's gonna bring definitely longevity to this relationship. But yeah, there can be a push and pull dynamic where the sun person really has to also, put their feet in the ground and kind of be like, that's enough teaching for today, Saturn. That's enough mentoring, because the Saturn person is going to adopt immediately that teacher role to the sun, whether they realize it or not. They're going to kind of want to structure the expression of the sun by making it more practical, by bringing Excel spreadsheets or I don't know, making a list or whatever the sun person is trying to express. And the sun can be kind of like, well, then I'm not excited to express myself anymore. So the sun person is going to have to kind of, stand firm in that, but also learn a little bit from the Saturn's teaching. So it's very interesting, the dynamic that can happen there. And you also want to look at to see if the sun person themselves have planets in their own natal chart that's opposing the sun, because then it's going to fall into the ascendant person's 7th house, and that's going to flavor also how the ascendant person is going to feel, because I'm kind of emphasizing the 7th house here because it's opposite to the 1st house, the descendant in the 1st house, right? Because it's also the house that rules relationships, and that's going to be, it's an angular house, and that's going to become of importance in this relationship, whatever that's happening between the 1st and the 7th house, the ascendant and the descendant. So do comment below if you have this very interesting aspect with anyone, friends or romantic partnerships or your family members. But if you're interested to get a synastry reading, you can click on the link that I have provided in the description box below and in the comment section, and hit like and subscribe if you like this video, and sending you guys a lot of love today.